Well, if you've ever hiked the western United States, there's a chance you've bumped into a sequoia tree, also known as a Sequoia dendron giganteum. These are among the largest living organisms on the planet. The average height is a monstrous 275 feet with a trunk diameter of 25 feet. You can even drive through some of these trees with your car. Elephants, are you paying attention? Now, in financial markets, megacaps are the sequoias. And today's ETF battle is a megacap duel between MGC from Vanguard going up against XLG from Invesco. Who wins the battle? We'll find out right after this. Welcome to ETF Battles. I'm DeLegge. If you're here for the first time, be sure to hit that subscribe button to ETF Guide TV and hit the like button. If you've been enjoying our content, we're continuing to get lots of awesome ETF Battles suggestions, so keep them coming. And post your ETF ticker symbols in the comment section below or on our Twitter feed at ETF Guide. And if you'd like to see if you see a suggested ETF battle from another viewer that you like or that you fancy, well, just hit that like button on that comment. So that'll help us to see which of those battles are the most urgent and pressing. Now, one more thing for our YouTube viewers, you can now find ETF Battles in podcast format. It's available at iTunes, Spotify, Amazon Music, and Google Podcasts. Be sure to leave a review, and links are provided to all of those podcasting platforms in the description section below. One way to examine stocks is by their market size. You've got small, mid, and large companies, and then there's the mega caps, who are the stock market sequoias. These are the companies with a market size usually 200 billion and above. They're also the companies at peak maturation, with shareholder acclamation and lots of media saturation. And today's showdown is between a pair of mega cap ETFs. We've got MGC from Vanguard going up against XLG from Invesco. And by the way, today's ETF battle was suggested by longtime viewer and battle loyalist Dave Schmarter. So thank you very much, Dave. Judging today's matchup is a formidable duo. We've got Dave Nadig with ETF Trends and Cinthia Murphy with ETF.com. Welcome back, judges. It's great to see you.
Hey, guys. Great to see you too again.
Good to be back.
So we got our 4 battle categories: cost, exposure, strategy, performance, and then the mystery category. And the mystery category, just by way of reminder, you, our judges, can pick your single factor or maybe multiple factors to make your arguments or case in favor or against a certain ETF. And at the end of the show, I'm going to be tallying up all of these results in each of these categories, and we'll declare an overall battle winner. Now, the program may end in a split decision. We'll just have to see what our judges come up with. But let's start with our first battle category, which is cost. Cinthia, please get us started.
So perhaps it's no surprise here, but the winner, in my opinion, is a Vanguard fund, which is MGC. It costs 7 basis points for a basket of more than 250 stocks. XLG is almost 3 times the cost for a portfolio that's a fifth the number of holdings. So there is no comparison. MGC all the way for the win here.
That's a strong start. Thank you, Cinthia. Dave, how do you see it in terms of cost?
Well, obviously, she's got the numbers, right? I'd never bet against her on those. Yes, of course, the Vanguard fund is cheaper. I will say that XLG occasionally trades a little better, but we'd be splitting hairs. Vanguard's the clear winner.
Thank you, Dave. Next up is the exposure strategy category. Dave, give it to us. Who wins the battle?
Well, really, this is the one place where there's a big difference between these two funds. XLG just takes the top 50 stocks in the S&P 500. MGC uses a CRISP index, which Vanguard helped co-develop, to pick up the top 250-ish firms in the country. Now, you'd think that those would be extraordinarily similar, and they are, but there are differences. What you end up with in the XLG case is a much more concentrated portfolio at the very top end. So those FANG stocks that we all know dominate the market, you just get more of them in XLG than you're getting in MGC. So it depends a little bit what you're after here. I tend to like diversification. I like the methodology behind the CRISP indexes. I'd give this to MGC.
Thank you, Dave. I got you down for MGC for the exposure strategy category. Cinthia, do you agree with Dave's analysis?
You know, I do. I'm a diversification fan too. Anybody who knows me knows that. So I love just the fact that if you just look at top 10 holdings, these two portfolios are nearly identical, but the concentration levels are very different. In XLG, you have almost 30% in just 3 stocks, which is your Apple, Amazon, and Microsoft. So unless you are super, super bullish on those names, I like the fact that MGC is a little more diversified and you have a little bit less single stock risk, which in the mega cap space may or may not matter to you. We talk a lot about single stock risk in the small cap space, and we think of these big companies as a little bit safer. But in truth, when a big company turns, it can also turn dramatically. So I like diversification. So MGC for sure.
That takes us next to the performance category. Cinthia, you're still up. Which of these 2 ETFs jumps out at you?
To me, this one was a little bit tough because you go year to date, one has a little bit of an edge on one. You go 1 year, the other has a little bit of an edge. I mean, to quote Dave, it's a little bit of a splitting hairs to me in terms of the performance. If you have the big growth stocks, the FANGs, as we were talking about earlier, leading the market, then go with XLG. That's the winner. If not, then MGC tends to have a little bit of a smoother ride. So I'm split decision here. I don't think either of them has a particular edge that's interesting to me.
Thank you, Cinthia. Dave, how do you see it in terms of performance?
Yeah, I guess I would give the slight edge here to MGC. It's done a little bit better over a longer period of time, but really all that shows you is that XLG has that tech-heavy concentration. It's about 8% more in tech than MGC is because it doesn't have names like, General Electric in it and in BlackRock and Target. It doesn't reach that far down the cap spectrum. So I think MGC wins here, but recognize you're going to underperform if we have a big rally in tech.
Very good. That takes us next to the mystery battle category, where our judges can pick that single factor or multiple factors that they think are important to today's battle. So, Dave, what is your mystery battle category and who wins it?
For me, it's index construction, right? At the core, these 2 funds are both really traditional cap-weighted index funds. XLG is based out of the S&P 500, which I have issues with, right? It's not a clean index. It's got a committee that can make calls about what goes in and out. Now, most of the time, those calls don't hit the top 50 stocks. They tend to be at the 500th stock, but I'm still not a huge fan of the S&P 500 as an anchor index. By contrast, I really like the CRISP methodology that Vanguard helped develop. It solves a lot of really nerdy problems in indexes, like how companies move in and out of different index bands. I think it's a great index methodology. So I give this one to MGC because it's Vanguard.
Very good. Thank you, Dave. I've got you down for MGC in your mystery battle category. Cinthia, how do you see it? What is your mystery battle category and who wins it?
I'm going to use a little bit of short-term momentum, but I'm going to introduce a wild card here with MGK, which is the growth mega cap portfolio. So it's basically your MGC, but growth only. And, for this whole just because it's a timely conversation, the whole value versus growth, we saw growth dominated, value picked up in the fall of 2020 and took the leadership. And in the last month or 6 weeks, we've seen growth kind of test that leadership. And we're at this pivotal point right now. Is growth going to take on again, or is value going to resume? And in the possibility that growth picks up again, I actually think MGK is really well positioned. In fact, in the last 6 weeks, has delivered twice the returns of MGC and has outperformed XLG as well. So in short-term momentums in the mega caps, I think the growth side is kind of interesting. So I'll go wild card MGK.
Thank you, Cinthia. We always like to get wild cards. It throws a wrench into the program and it fills up my scorecard. So thank you very much. I've got you down with your wild card pick, MGK. Now we shift to the part of the program where our judges can recap their overall battle winner. And Cinthia, you're still up.
Yeah, if I go broadly here, I have to go Vanguard. It's cheap, it's diversified, it's well built, as Dave mentioned. Even if you're gonna go factor folks and go just growth, it's still a Vanguard fund. So I think Vanguard has a really, really good product here. You can count on it. It's dependable. It's a predictable performance in a way. You know what you're getting, and I like it. So MGC. / Vanguard.
Very good. And of course, as your wild card pick, you also picked another Vanguard ETF, so MGK. So thank you very much, Cinthia. Dave, your final opportunity to weigh in.
Well, so I'm with her on MGC. I think that's the clear winner here. For me, it's just that nerdy index construction. I love it when people get the math right, and I think this gets the math right.
Very good. Well, our judges have weighed in, and according to my battle scorecard, today's winner in this Megacap ETF showdown is MGC, and our judges pretty much agreed in most categories. And they, of course, agreed in the most important category, which is the overall winner. But Dave, of course, mentioning index construction, which is a big deal. Not exactly a fan of the S&P 500 indexing process. He prefers MGC for that. And Cinthia throwing a wrench in today's battle with her wildcard nomination, MGK, indicating that momentum is something to keep an eye out for, especially for you growth investors. Growth, of course, has outperformed value over the past several years. Took a beating in second quarter, but has started to come back. So if that continues, then you should see some good performance out of MGK. But overall, some solid points, judges, and appreciate you guys weighing in and sharing your insights with us on today's episode. Keep up the good work.
Thanks, Ron. That was a pleasure.
Well, that does it for today's episode of ETF Battles. If you'd like to see a certain battle, be sure to post your ticker symbols in the comment section below or on our Twitter feed at ETF Guide. I'm Ron DeLegge with ETF Guide TV. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.